Hello and welcome to Super Rugby Aotearoa 2021. This is the team of the week for round 9. Hope you've had a great weekend. In New Zealand we've had a long weekend and I'm just fresh back from having a bit of brunch, so I hope you've enjoyed it. The weather hasn't been too bad, although certainly the warm period is coming to an end and we get into cooler weather during the winter, late autumn and winter. Of course that's going to affect the standard of the rugby too. We were lucky enough to have conditions that were pretty good over the 2 games of Super Rugby Aotearoa at the weekend for round 9, the penultimate round of the round robin play. And here are the results. On Friday night, the Chiefs just pipping the Hurricanes last minute again, with Damien McKenzie popping over a penalty goal from reasonably long range, 26-24 victory. And the Crusaders yesterday on a Sunday afternoon, beautiful afternoon conditions, smashing the Blues 29-6. Although the scoreline wasn't perhaps fair on the Blues, they did reasonably well, but more about that later. So let's take a look at the table. The Crusaders with that victory, guaranteeing a home final in 2 weeks' time against the Chiefs. Even though the Blues, if they win with a bonus point next week against the Chiefs in round 10, they haven't had as many victories as the Chiefs, got lots of bonus points. So if it came to a tiebreak, the Chiefs would still go through to the final. So the final has been decided. I guess the rugby from now on in for next weekend is all academic. But of course there are places in the All Blacks up for grabs. And some of the players in this team of the week in round 9 certainly have been making the most of their chances. Let's start with number 1, the loose head prop. And for the second week in a row on my team, it's the Chiefs prop Aidan Ross, who has got the selection over Carl Tuinukuafi, who was very impressive. He gave Michael Ala'alatoa a real bath yesterday and was reasonably energetic. Even after 62, 63 minutes, he was doing little runarounds in the pod, and his scrumming was really first class. Seemed to enjoy himself as well. But Aidan Ross is a very athletic prop and he is very physically strong. He's come back from a string of injuries and could be the man to take us through to the next World Cup, depending on how Joe Moody goes with his injuries, of course. Now, hooker was really tough this week alongside halfback. No one really put their hand up, although it was good to see Kurt Eklund, the Blue, back after a long suspension for his suplex, almost Brock Lesnar-like, but he was good yesterday. But I've given the number 2 jersey to Cody Taylor. He got another try. He has 7 tries in this competition. He's out by some way as the top try scorer in the competition. 7 tries. The second place people are Narahi, Reese and Jordan. They've all got 4 tries. And Cody Taylor is also first in tackles won during the competition. So he's having a great season. Wasn't perfect yesterday, but is a good leader in the team. One black mark on his book was that he got 3 penalties conceded against him. He was a bit slow lying around at the bottom of the ruck. So he wasn't perfect. Dane Coles was a little flaccid against the Chiefs. Samasoni Tokeaho was not as outstanding in the field as he usually is. Really good at the scrum. So Cody Taylor was the best of an average bunch. At tight head prop, no argument there, Angus Ta'avao. Really, the Chiefs front row won the game for them in the competition against the Hurricanes. They were really good over the Hurricanes all game, and of course they won that last minute penalty. And Angus Ta'avao has been impressive for the last 4 or 5 weeks. Well done to him. So there are plenty of options at tight head prop for the All Blacks, that is for sure. Number 4, he missed out narrowly last week, but I've decided to give him a starting jumper in lock. It's Jared Khali Tuioti. He's turned, in the absence of Tuipulotu, he's really taken that role of the main man in centre field for the Blues, crunching tackles, big strong runs. He's doing really hard yards up the middle for the Blues and was unlucky to miss out last week. I ordered that to the 2 Chiefs locks last week. The 2 Crusaders locks were really good this week, but I've given 1 slot to Jared Khali Tuioti. The other one does go to a Crusader. After a lot of umming and ahhing, I thought Sam Whitelock was superb. They always add another dimension when he's in the Crusaders team, that's for sure. Decided to give it to the captain, Scott Barrett. He's 3rd equal in line outtakes this year. Sam Whitelock is the top line-out taker so far. Scott Barrett was top tackler in his team yesterday against the Blues. Led from the front, led by example, was really strong, and just needs to watch his infringing. Sometimes he can't help himself at the bottom of the rucks with hands on the ball. He's got to be careful of that because they could come back and haunt him and his team in this final that's going to happen in 2 weeks' time. Number 6, we continue with the Crusaders. Ethan Blackadder. He's a dogged, determined man, isn't he, on the field? Just like his old man. Really strong with his running, and he is a definite defender that you can count on. That is for sure. Really, really good performance from Blackadder. And as we've said in the past, that Crusaders loose forward trio, they're all really sixes, and Ethan Blackadder starts in the 6 because he's their best 6 he's got. They've got real problems. And I hope Heveli Talitui, for their sake, doesn't get any disciplinary action for that tackle he made on Talialu Telea. Was bad, and I'm not sure. We're waiting with bated breath to see if we hear anything. For number 7, it was interesting because Duplessis Karifi had a really good game. He had a fantastic game, was good, and they were leading up until the last minute, and then he cocked it up again. It was his discipline that cost him and his team again, with a silly penalty that Damien McKenzie converted into a win for them. So Karifi was unlucky, but he's just got to watch his discipline. And the man at 7 this week is Dalton Papali'i. Top tackles against the Crusaders for everybody on the field. And 3 turnovers. Really, really impressive turnover work. Looks like he's got a knee problem. The Blues, they'll probably rest him now. There's nothing on the game against the Chiefs next week, but he'll be really important against the Australians. We haven't seen Adrian Choate for a few weeks, and of course we saw Blake Gibson on the field yesterday as well. He was impressive, but Dalton Papali'i really stepped up for the captaincy duties too. Impressive. The Blues did lose and were woeful in parts, but I've put a third Blue in at number 8, Hoskins Satutu. He's coming right just at the right time this season. He's second equal in carries in the competition. Against the Crusaders, he had 16 carries. It was the top for the game. No missed tackles. And was unlucky to be denied a try. It was a lovely step off his right foot in midfield. He's got all the skills. And with Savia and Sam Cane under injury clouds at the moment, he's really important to the All Blacks cause later in the year too. So if he can keep this improvement, ramping up his form, he's going to be in the right place when the All Black season starts, hopefully, if the All Black season starts. Now, as I mentioned, number 9 too is another tough position. No one really stood out. Of course, you got the Drummond-Hall combo. They get half a game each. Ruru was, he got better when Black came on and Plummer went 1 out. I do like the look of Christie. I don't know why they don't start Finlay Christie. For me, he's the best scrum halfback in the Blue squad. Campbell was better for the Hurricanes, but I've decided to go with Brad Weber. He's first in clean breaks for the competition, and he's always just a little challenge, isn't he, around the fringes. And he captained well too. He was really good at captain. So Brad Weber gets the number 9 position. At 10, no real argument here. Richie Monger, he was fantastic. When the Crusaders are going forward, he's really good. They didn't have it all their way, actually. They didn't have as much possession as they would have liked, but he got a lot of front foot ball. And when he got that front foot ball, he made the most of it. He's first in clean breaks for the competition, and he had top meters in the whole for the Crusaders against the Blues for his team yesterday as well. So he was very influential, as was the man outside him. But we'll get to that in a minute. Number 11, the left wing, Eteni Nanai Saturo, bit of typo there, sorry, not Nani Saturo, Nanai Saturo. He was awesome on Friday night. I mean, it's great to see a wing who's hungry for work. This guy's ravenous. He was just at the buffet all night. 91 metres, 12 carries, and he's second in defenders beaten in the competition as well. So really good to see a left wing hunting for the ball, and we saw it with Caleb Clark last week. Wasn't there yesterday. I thought Nanai Satura was excellent at the weekend. He gets the left wing spot. Now we mentioned the man outside Monger, David Havili. He was great. He didn't run much. He was really solid in the tackle, 10 tackles for the game and 7 kicks in play. He took a lot of pressure off Monger for kicking for position, and he was really good against Rieko Ioane too, pushing one out. He kept Ioane quiet all day. He was really good for the second week in a row. He makes the team of the week for Super Rugby Aotearoa. At number 13, we've had a few stars there in the last few weeks. Leonard Brown was pretty solid. I thought Proctor played really well when he came on for the Hurricanes when Umaga Jensen went off, and Rieko Ioane had a game he would want to forget, full of errors. It was indicative of his team. So at 13, I've gone for Lester Whainga Anuku, and he's made a good fist of coming in at 13, I think. He's second metres in the competition. He's got 600 metres for the competition. He's just six behind Will Jordan. And he was really good against the Blues. He defended well against Ioane too when he came in to tackle him. And I really loved his effort when Cody Taylor went over for the try, just pushing in the maul. He doesn't mind the dirty stuff. He's got a lot to learn at centre. I'm sure he'd be the first person to admit that. But he's really stepped into the role when Goodhue went down with injury. And of course it allows the Crusaders to play both Bridge and Reese on the wings. Talking of Reese, he gets the number 14 spot. He's a cheeky little chap, isn't he? He got some great intercepts. He came in, swooped in after Caleb Clark made one of his great runs, took the ball off Rieko Ioane on an onside position. He's just a very quick thinker. He's first in offloads for the competitions, and he scored a try yesterday as well, made himself a nuisance. He gets the number 14 jersey. Now, probably the biggest debate for the team of the week in round 9 was the fallback spot. There were 3 major contenders. We had Geordie Barrett for the Hurricanes. He ran 121 metres. That was the top meterage for the weekend. We had Will Jordan, who's second equal in clean breaks, first in metres run at 606 metres. And last weekend I put Will Jordan in at right wing because there was no real contender for the right wing spot. This week Reese really did his job well. So there's no space for Will Jordan. I've gone with D-Mac. How could you not select him? Such a clutch player, an influential player for the Chiefs, both off the kicking tee and running the cutter. We saw him many times during the game at the weekend. Even though he didn't have the number 10 jersey on, he'd swoop in on attack and drive the team when they had front foot, making good decisions. Lovely passing. There was a time there on attack where he gave a cutout pass to Lachlan Bashir, almost set up the try, little chip kick that Soa Kula dropped sadly. But no, he's very influential. So that's the team of the week. Quite a few Crusaders and Chiefs, as you'd expect, going into the final. And now we look at round 10 fixtures for this weekend coming up. It's the Hurricanes and the Highlanders. The Hurricanes would really love a victory before they go to Super Rugby with Australia. I guess the Highlanders would too. They're at home, the Hurricanes, though. Hopefully they can get it right. I mean, they've looked promising. They've had their chances to win. They've just lost that habit of winning like the Chiefs did at one time. You'd imagine they'll come back strong as soon as possible. And the game on Saturday night, the last round robin game for Super Rugby Aotearoa 2021, is the Blues and the Chiefs at Eden Park. There's a double header too with the women. That's going to be a good game. A little bit of sadness for the Blues. The Chiefs, maybe they'll rest a few key players for the final. It's going to be a big game. But of course, they've won 5 in a row. They really are the form team. So well done to the Chiefs and the Crusaders. They find themselves in the final the week after. And then we go into Super Rugby Australasia. And that's going to be very exciting too. Really interested to see where the Reds, the Brumbies fit in terms of the New Zealand team. So it'll be great to see all those clashes and whether the lesser teams like the Waratahs and the Force can match the New Zealand teams in terms of firepower. Lots to look forward to. Hope you enjoy your shortened week. We'll see you with some previews coming up on Thursday and Friday when I get the team lists for round 10. Until then, haere rā e noho rā. Take care. This has been a production of Tahu Films.